It's the National Football League on EA Sports. And if it's in the game, it's in the game. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's coming up next on Madden Football.
From the banks of the Ohio River, there's a look at what's now known as Paycor Stadium here in Cincinnati. Straight ahead, we've got a pretty good one on tap here, as it'll be the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. With Charles Davis, as always, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Charles, you talk about storylines in this one. I think it begins and ends with our two quarterbacks, certainly two of the best in the business.
And nowadays, I don't think you can get by for long periods of time without a top-flight quarterback. The way the game is played, with all the responsibility he has and how the game flows through him, if he's not on the top of his game, your team's not going to benefit at all.
Well, the kicker, Brandon Aubrey, is out to get this one started. And we are underway from Cincinnati. And we will not see a run back on the opening kickoff. This will be a touchback. Here come the Bengals, and CD, of course, it's Joe Burrow out of LSU at quarterback.
And when you come into the league as the #1 guy selected, a lot of hype comes with it, and sometimes that weight can be unbearable. But this young man, he took that weight on and handled it as well as you can imagine. And I love his ability to make a second, third reaction play and create downfield.
They'll start on the ground with Moss. And he'll take this ahead for about 4. Second down coming up.
Well, at the end of all that hitting and hollering, it was a 4-yard run, so the offense is going to go back to huddle and feel pretty good about themselves. Defensively, you have to feel okay because you didn't let it turn into a bigger run, but the goal, shut it down for 2 yards or less. That's when you start to feel good about yourselves.
Play action. It's Burrow. Over the middle into traffic, and that's complete. 7 yards there and a first down.
They kept the receiver in the short field, but that let his quarterback get the ball quickly to him before either guy in double coverage could react.
So from the 36 now, 1st and 10. Burrow looking to pass. And he will go down. A Cowboys sack. Marquise Bell leading the surge there as he drops him for a loss of 6. The pressure that time right up the middle, and he was able to wiggle in there pretty easily and get the sack.
Yeah, sometimes you end up getting caught in a little bit of a breakdown about who to block up front, and that creates the gap there, and he took full advantage, got to the quarterback, and finished off the sack.
Now, meanwhile, a pass that should have been intercepted, but it winds up falling incomplete.
Well, partner, guaranteed they approach this play with the idea of making up ground to make third down manageable. Unfortunately, with that incompletion, right back where they started on the last snap. Now they need a big third down play in order to pick up the yardage needed.
Now Joe Burrow on 3rd and long. And that is incomplete. That's a pretty good opening possession defensively.
And you know the goal is to make something of a statement, especially on the road with your first defensive possession, isn't it? Go right out and establish yourselves and let them know this is going to be tough going all game long.
So on 4th down, on is Brad Robbins to punt for the Bengals. Kevontae Turpin deep for the Cowboys. That'll be a 41-yard punt, 4 yards there on the return. And the Cowboys will take over the football with a 1st and 10. Time for Dak Prescott and the Dallas offense to go to work. Prescott, of course, the former fourth-round pick in 2016 out of Mississippi State.
And how about the toughness of Dak Prescott? We see it all the time on the field. And remember when he had that serious ankle injury, would he return to form? Boy, did he ever. And he was better than ever, and that's great for the NFL. Terrific resilience, playing at a high level, capable of winning a championship with his arm and his legs.
So Prescott of the Cowboys now with a 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Here's a play fake as they set up to throw. And a dangerous throw there, incomplete. He threw that into coverage. It was nearly intercepted.
So many times when we talk about coverage, we're just about a defender running with a receiver, but a big part of it is understanding where the football is, finding it. In this case, when it arrived, it wasn't a surprise, and he was able to bat it away.
Here's Prescott. Pass complete to Jalen Tolbert. And he'll be taken down, but not before they work it across midfield. That one a gain of 20 and a 1st down. Prescott to throw it. Out of his hands quickly to CeeDee Lamb. And they'll get him down as he's inside the 40. 12 more yards there and another 1st down.
I don't care who you put on him. He's going to be a handful in one-on-one throws.
Yeah, right now you're right. They're in man-to-man. Maybe needs some safety help.
I would say that'd be a good idea. Double team him somehow. I'm going to have to make someone else beat me rather than let him shred my defense.
A 1st down throw for Prescott. Under pressure, and down he goes. Sheldon Rankins abruptly ends that play with a sack. But defensively on the previous play, they gave up a pretty good chunk of yardage, but right there, they got a good portion of it right back.
And if we just flip it around from the offensive perspective, took a nice step forward, and how about a couple of leaps backwards after that play? They've got to figure out a big call coming up here to try and gain that yardage back.
Prescott's throw pulled in by Lamb. That's good. The completion there for 7 yards. And that brings up 3rd and a full 10 yards.
Timing is so important on a route like this because he's going to line up out right and then cut straight across the field. I think the ball might have come out a count or two too late because by the time he was able to secure it, not much of a chance to turn it upfield.
On 3rd down, it's Prescott. And he's taken down inside the 30. An injury stoppage here, and oh, you hope this is nothing serious. That's Dak Prescott who is shaken up. Well, now they're going to come out and take a look at this injury, and we'll be back in a moment.
What's the deal, y'all?
Rush to throw on 1st down. And he's going to be taken down here. A sack back at the 32. A loss of 3 on the sack made by multiple defenders. Charles, a little bit of feast or famine on this drive. They moved the ball okay, but they've been sacked twice now.
And they've got to figure out how to plug that leak a little bit, right? Keep them away from the quarterback because when he's not being hit, as you mentioned, they're moving the ball well.
Here's Rush to throw. And his throw's going to be incomplete.
A lot of times it's that first read that you have. Maybe you get it in pre-snap, and he locked in on his target, but he was covered quite well, and that one's incomplete.
9th play of the drive coming up, and certainly not an easy one on 3rd and long. Throwing here, Rush. And that is incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down as his Cincy defense stands up on 3rd.
Well, we've seen some good pressure defensively already here in the 1st quarter. Here's another good example.
So on 4th down, Prescott off, and on is Aubrey for the Cowboy field goal. From the right hash, this from 48. And this one is right down Broadway. And the Cowboys are going to jump out to a 3-0 lead. So in the end, they had the ball for 10 plays, but the drive gets them 3, not 6.
Is it okay if I give credit to both sides on this one?
Absolutely.
All right, let's start defensively. They hung in there. 10-play drive, but they stiffened when they got close to the goal line, made them kick a field goal. And for the offense, 10-play drive. They might be a little disappointed they got a field goal, but they moved the ball down the field with dispatch and came away with points.
So after the made field goal, back out is Aubrey to kick this away. And he'll elect not to return this one, so they'll bring it out to the 25 on the touchback. Cincinnati coming back onto the field here for their second drive. Defense got the better of them last series, forcing a punt. See if they make a few changes in the game plan here and try to get points out of this drive. 1st and 10. They go play action with Burrow. On the throw, led him too much that time. It's incomplete.
One thing I have learned, receivers don't mind high throws so much to the sideline, but do that over the middle to them, and not only are the DBs going to throw a little verbal trash their way, when they get back to the huddle, they're going to have a few words to say to their QB, aren't they?
Yeah, hung out to dry a little bit there on the high throw. Luckily, fell incomplete. Here's Burrow setting up to throw it. And this time he's got the hook up. It's complete. And he's upended at the 33 following a good pickup of 8.
And I think this is a route we'll see more of as this game goes on, because with his speed, they want to get him the ball in space on drag routes just like this. They want him to get the ball and run after the catch. Good job there, though, holding him for a short gain.
They snapped that at 1. Now it's Burrow. Now a short one to Gesicki. And he is going to have a Bengals first down by about a yard as they're able to convert on 3rd and 2.
At first glance, I thought he just used his size in order to win the route, but he also had a little subtle move in there as well. Made the defender think he was going one direction and was able to track the ball in another.
They'll run on first down with Moss. And he'll manage to pick up about 4. It's 2nd down.
Well, you don't turn your nose up at a gain of 4, do you? They'll take that on first down. Playbook's got to be pretty well open on 2nd and 6.
Ball on the 40 now. Here's 2nd and 6. Now it's Burrow. He'll swing this out to Moss. Give him a gain of 5 on the completion. And 3rd and 1 now. So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down. They'll try and run for this with Moss. And he is going to have a Bengals first down by a couple of yards as they're able to convert there on 3rd and 1.
Brandon, what were they thinking on defense there? That looked like they were playing for the pass. That was 3rd and short. Yeah, it was an easy pickup because they handed it to him. That was way too easy.
Just looked like absolute confusion defensively. Not sure why they were in that set.
Yeah, I'd say you ought to have a few men in the box there.
First down, they stay with Moss on the ground. And he's got this one across midfield into Cowboy territory. It's a pickup of 4, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
When you find that kind of yardage, you couldn't be more confident as a ball carrier. And guess what? You're going to go back and tell your offensive coordinator, I'd like to keep carrying it, thank you.
Now a 2nd and 6. Now it's Burrow. Now a short one to Gesicki. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. Second catch for him today, and it'll wind up a first down.
We can see offensive pass interference called on this play from time to time. The tight end's going to sell that he's going outside. Let the slot receiver come past, and then work himself back to the inside. Sure enough, he's left with some open space, and he picks up the first down.
And he'll take this down to the 33.
Well, if you're a football guy, that's a pretty run because everyone is in sync right there. Obviously, the guy carrying the ball, but how about the people up front? Leverage, athleticism, they created some nice space for him.
2nd and 6. Now Burrow. Man open, that's Jamar Chase complete. And he's going to have another first down here as the tackle's made at the Cowboys' 20-yard line. The Bengals passing game finding a rhythm. They've got another first. From the red zone now, here's Burrow, first down. And he'll go right back to Chase. That's caught again. And the Bengals are going to have a first and goal as he's taken down at about the 8-yard line.
Just picking up yardage in bunches here these last few plays. They have moved right down the field, and just like that, they're going to be set up with a first and goal.
Three 0 after one on EA Sports. Ready for the second quarter from Cincinnati. It's the Bengals with the football here as they go to work on a first and goal. Out of the gun, it's Burrow. To the end zone, but it's incomplete.
They may be snapping the ball near the goal line, but all you're thinking defensively, keep them out of the end zone. Force the incompletion, force them into going for 3, and not giving up 6.
Nothing on first down, so the ball remains at the 8-yard line, second and goal. Here's Burrow. This is caught. The catch good for 6 yards, but now it's third and goal. Moss will take this one in. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Well, he'd been the workhorse on this drive, and it would have been unfair to bring someone else in to finish the job. So they go back to him again, and he delivers with a touchdown run.
Evan McPherson for the extra point. And this is up and good to make it 7-3. That one was an extended drive, 14 plays all told. And it ends with a 3-yard scoring run. After the touchdown, McPherson on to kick this one away. And his guys will get the football right at the 20-yard line. Second drive forthcoming here for the Dallas Cowboys. They run here with Rico Dowdle. And he stopped immediately there. Call it no gain on the play, and it'll be second down. And he got off the end there very quickly to make that play.
Yeah, it was almost like the bullet train, wasn't it? I mean, just zoom. Quick, 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 and what a terrific play, holding them to no gain.
Prescott now on second down. Now he'll dump it underneath to his running back, complete. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a third down. They are in need of 6 yards here if they hope to move the chains. Prescott from the gun on third. He'll fire deep downfield for Lamb. And this is dropped. Oh, it's incomplete. He had a big gainer in his sights, but he could not reel it in.
And that is not what you expect from a receiver of his caliber. Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself. You don't look it in, and all of a sudden it's on the ground. A surprise to all.
On fourth down, here's Brian Anger now to kick this one away. Charlie Jones deep for Cincinnati. Fair catch signaled for and taken just shy of the 30-yard line. Now the Cincinnati offense ready to see what they can do here. Burrow going to lead up the Bengals here, 1st and 10, just shy of the 30. They'll start this drive out on the ground. That play going for 16 yards to start the drive, 1st down. When he runs, he seems to do a nice job of knowing when to be patient and find the hole, and then when the hole is there, he goes quickly.
You're exactly right. He knows how to just take off, but you know what else? Brings a little thump with him, doesn't he?
He does.
He packs the boom at the end of the run and finishes it going forward. That's what you want to see out of your backs.
Burrow's throw caught by Higgins. So the completion good for 7 there, and it'll be 2nd down. A handoff to Moss on the option. And he's got this down to the 35. 51 yards rushing now on 8 carries for him so far.
Now this is an example of breaking down a defense, because on a lot of these runs, he's getting past the point of attack, and guess what he's doing? Forcing the secondary guys to have to make a lot of tackles.
Now Burrow on 1st down. Under pressure, and he will go down. Sacked back at the 38. Osa Odigizua with the effort there to earn the sack.
And we all know how talented this guy is who's calling the signals for him, but even the best in the game, they can struggle against a good, cohesive zone coverage. Can't find a gap in the secondary quick enough, and he ends up taking a sack.
On 2nd down, here's a run with Moss. He'll be hit down at the 33, 5 yards on the play.
I think we all suspected that they were going back to him after he found the end zone on his last carry, and they kept the positive momentum going there. Another nice run by him.
The 25-yard line is what they need here. This is 3rd down. They're passing here, Joe Burrow. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And they move this all the way down to the 9. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
Well, we can talk about it like it's just a basic route, but how about the timing on this one? Lined up on the right, runs a deep in route, and how about the throw? Right on the money. Bam, puts it right in there and on his hands. Nice completion, really good pickup.
Burrow will throw. And he's got it. That's good for a gain of 6, 2nd and goal. Burrow looking to pass. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
Well, Brandon, we see why it's a team game there, because there's a sigh of relief that they just released defensively. If he's able to get that one away, that's likely a touchdown. But instead, that pressure from the front got to him and forced the incompletion.
You're right. He had him open, just a split second too late on the release. They'll look to run with Moss. And he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Bengals. Zach Moss with his second touchdown here in this first half. And the Bengals are able to stretch out their lead. So his strong first half continues as he finds the end zone here for the second time.
And definitely good blocking at the point of attack. And you just have to love watching the way he can create space down near the goal line. And he's able to take it into the end zone.
Extra point by McPherson, up and good. And that pushes the lead up to 11. After the touchdown, McPherson on to kick this one away. Oh, a good return up past the 30. Still going. One man to beat. And he will score. Touchdown, Cowboys. I know a lot of special teams coaches, they just want to keep it away from him because that's what he can do.
And others have egos that their players can't keep up with. And they say, challenge him, kick it to him. The way he runs as fast as he is, I wouldn't challenge him at all. I'd do everything possible to keep it away.
He is just a blur when he gets a full head of steam, and he got a full head of steam there. Brandon Aubrey now for the extra point. And he's got it. That cuts the lead. It's now 14-10. Well, we talk a lot about explosive plays on offense. How about an explosive play on special teams? Certainly one there on the kick return for a touchdown. So now the other return teams out there as they'll try to duplicate what they just saw. And a good effort on the return there. Gets him across the 30, up to the 33. Zach Moss heading out to lead this offense. Good returns on the last drive. He hit the end zone for the second time. Good returns in this first half, really.
Yeah, good returns for his team. Really good returns for the guy. You know where I'm going. Darn right. Those fantasy guys who have him on their team, they're rejoicing right now, and they have a high expectation that what they've seen already will continue.
Be more. You talk about fantasy a lot, but you don't. Why don't you just play? You don't.
I'm not good enough to play the fantasy game. I enjoy
You're
watching
an analyst. You're an expert.
I mean, you were a champ last year. Keep it up.
5th place.
Okay. Well, that's a champ in my book. That was a nicely run slant route, and what the receiver's trying to do is make the defender think he's going upfield for a deeper route and then breaks it off, usually after about 3 to 4 steps, and cuts towards the middle of the field. And now what he's trying to do is use his body to keep the defender away from the football and give the quarterback a really nice target.
And that's caught inside the 30. And he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25. It's a gain of 34.
Well, he worked his way quite a bit in this first half, and with good reason. You can see it there. He is such a handful defensively, just too hard to keep him under wraps. He delivers a big play here for this offense.
So the big play gets him all the way down to the outskirts of the red zone here for 1st and 10. He'll look to throw. And his throw is incomplete.
And there's a good opportunity to just want to ride there. A drop pass. I guess that's why they call them running backs and not catching backs.
Second and 10. Burrow on play action. And it's intercepted at the goal line. Picked up by Trayvon Diggs. And the Cowboys are going to have it here as they'll start at their own 7.
Partner, I think this one went awry very simply because he overestimated his arm strength and his ability to fit it anywhere he wants to. A lot of quarterbacks do that and often pay the price.
The offense for the Cowboys now working their way back onto the field. They got the ball now following a big play, keeping the other guys out of the end zone. Now they'll start deep in their own territory, 1st and 10. Following the interception, here's Prescott. And this one quickly to Lamb. And brought down, but not before they're able to get it up to the 25. An excellent way to start the drive there, 18 yards.
Well, they were backed up to start the drive, but how about that aggressiveness? Firing it downfield right away. Nice job there getting out towards what would have been their normal starting position.
On play action, Prescott. And he'll go right back to Lamb. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. Give him back-to-back catches now. That one for 16 and another first down.
I like that one, partner. They go back-to-back with excellent gains. And really, it shouldn't be a surprise who they were throwing the ball to. He's their best guy.
Yeah, we knew that they would get him involved early. They're doubling down on getting him involved early.
Don't be surprised they'll come right back to him again. They haven't shown the propensity to be able to stop him.
And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on first down. Two minutes remaining in this first half of football. Second down and a little more than a yard here. Prescott off play action. That is caught by Lamb. And he's got another first down as the tackle's going to be made at the Bengals 30. A gain there of 21 yards.
Second and short, that's a rundown, so it's definitely a good time to go play action if you're feeling it. And they do so and pick up a first down.
So 1st and 10 now from the 30. Prescott from the gun. The short one there taken in by Ferguson. And inside the 20 before he's brought down. 11 more yards that go around, a first down as well.
He's certainly done a nice job spreading the field on this drive, and here he finds his big tight end for good yardage. And that's what you have to do. Keep defenses guessing about where you're going to go with the football.
So here's a 1st and 10 now down inside the 20. From the red zone now, Prescott. That one almost intercepted, but it's incomplete. Not a good throw there, and it'll be second down.
They're putting together a drive here in the final minutes of the half, but the coverage has been tight all game long, and they certainly want to keep them off the scoreboard here.
Here's 2nd and 10. Out of the gun, here's Prescott. Throw complete right side to Cooks. And he is out of bounds, looks like right at the 15. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a third down. They'll throw again. Prescott. Pass taken in by his big tight end. And it looks like he'll be just a yard shy of the 5 here as he's out at the 6. Well, they've had a great, impressive drive going here, and that pickup ensures the drive continues.
And not only do you continue the drive, which is demoralizing for the guys on the defensive side of the ball right now, but you make your own defense happy. They're able to get a little more rest over on the sidelines while this one continues downfield.
Throwing, Prescott. And this is caught for a Cowboy touchdown. Brandon Cooks from 6 yards away. And the Cowboys go coast to coast and finish the drive off with 6 points. That could be an important swing right there, a touchdown in the final minute of the half to take the lead.
And I like the point you just made there. Could be an important swing because now that they have the lead, if they can carry that into the locker room at the half, they'll feel really good about what they accomplished in the first 2 quarters.
Aubrey now for the point after. It's good, and they'll take a 17-14 lead. That time, a 9-play drive, and it's capped off with a Cowboys touchdown. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. From a yard or 2 deep, here comes a return. And he'll be dropped at the 21-yard line, so bringing it out of the end zone proves not a good decision, loses him about 4 yards. The Bengals going to take over late in this first half. With this slim deficit closing in on the end of the first half, we'll see if they can move this at least into field goal range and try to get 3 out of this drive. Just over 30 seconds to go in the half. They've got it 1st and 10. Trying to shake off the interception from the last drive. He'll look to throw. And that's going to be caught. T. Higgins. Now the Bengals going to use the first of their timeouts as they stop it with 28 seconds to go in the first half of play. A big hitter to start the drive has him up near midfield here for 1st and 10. Now it's Burrow. That one tipped, and it's incomplete. What good hands there defensively. It's 2nd down.
Yeah, offenses always try to be smart about when they're trying to dial up a screen to the running back because they understand you can only go to the well so many times in a game without the defense starting to anticipate the call.
Now Burrow to throw on 2nd down. That's to the right sideline, and it falls incomplete.
And a smart play there. He's probably saying, I wish I would have done that on the last drive instead of throwing the interception.
So now 3rd and 10, a big play to start the drive, but nothing since. Here's Burrow setting up to throw it. And that's going to be too high, out of bounds and incomplete.
That's well done defensively. They get the pressure they needed on 3rd down. All the receivers are locked up tight, and they force that quarterback to just throw it away.
Here's Brad Robbins now. Fair catch called for right around the 11-yard line. It'll be a 39-yard punt, no return. And the Cowboys will be backed up to start the drive. They'll have it 1st and 10. The Dallas offense here set to begin the drive. And the ball backed way up, so thinking with this amount of time on the clock, probably just sit on it, and we'll see these two teams go to the lockers.
Yeah, I don't think you want to overthink it in this situation. Either side of the ball. Just go ahead and finish up the half and get on out and talk about it.
So we've hit halftime. Just a field goal separating these two teams at the break. As we'll send you down to Orlando, and we check in with Jonathan Coachman for our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach.
All right, Brandon, back to you two in just a bit. But first, welcome everyone to downtown Orlando and our EA Sports Halftime Report.
This
one's been as good as advertised.
Yeah, both teams
just
likely
a field
to make
goal
some changes
separating
in
these
what's
two
been a
teams.
closely fought
This is a very
battle to
level
this
first
point.
half, and I'd expect to see more of the same after the break.
A field goal the difference. 17-14 is the score. Back underway here now in this third quarter. Kevontae Turpin now from his end zone. And ultimately, he stopped right where he would have been if he had simply gone down to a knee at the 25. Out come the Cowboys now as they'll go on offense first here in this third quarter. And they've got the lead. CD, what do you think the message was at halftime?
I don't think the message was too drastic, I think, at the half, or that they need to change things too much. I do think the offensive line could play a little bit better, and I think they'll try and help them out more. They'll probably keep a tight end in a few more times and maybe add a running back to the formation to pick up those pass rushers, because they probably allowed a few too many sacks for comfort in the first half.
And he's going to be dropped following a pickup of 7 past the 30 to the 32.
The completion was given up, but that's why you play zone defense, so that you can have people around the ball when it's caught and you don't give up much run after the catch.
They'll operate from the 32-yard line here, 2nd and 3. On the run, it's Dowdle. And he'll be brought down right around the 37. A gain of 5, good enough for the first down.
Well, you know they had a third down play on standby just in case, but he says no need with that carry. Runs like that will continually earn him more work in this and future contests.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. Prescott now, option right. And this winds up a gain of 4 to the 41.
Well, if you're going to run the read option, typically, you've got to keep an eye on the defensive end.
And what does that mean? What are you looking for with a defensive end?
Well, you want to play off of what he does. If he collapses inside towards the running back, then you pull it and take it yourself outside in. If he stays outside, you go ahead and leave it with the running back. In this case, pulled it and got good yardage himself.
Oh, some strong running. And they'll work this down to the 40-yard line. Tackled there. That good for 19 and a first down. They've got the lead early here in the third quarter, and runs like that are how they establish that lead in the first half.
I love the fact that you're using the word lead, because they are leading from the front, pounding on the defense right now with the running game, and truly establishing themselves here in the second half.
So they'll come up in Bengals territory now with a 1st and 10 right at the 40. They run again with Dowdle. And he'll take it into the end zone for a Cowboy touchdown. Rico Dowdle, 40 yards, as his guys are able to extend their lead.
Well, I guess when you look back on it, it was just a matter of time until he popped a big one like that. And, you know, at halftime, you and I discussed it. They had done a nice job on him in the first half. But there were a couple of occasions where it felt like he might wiggle out of traffic and take it to the house. Finally here in the second half, that got done.
Aubrey now for the PAT. And his guys will take a 10-point lead. That time, 75-yard drive, 5 plays. And the last play, a really nice run that culminated in the touchdown. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. From a couple yards deep, he'll bring it out of the end zone. And bulldozing his way through. And able to break this out all the way to the 38-yard line. Great return. So here are the Bengals now as they get their first possession of this second half. They make their second half debut here, and things are looking a little bit tougher now. You give up the points there, Charles, that touchdown drive on the other side. So now it's a two-score game here. Got to be careful.
They certainly do, and I'm just wondering at halftime if those guys just looked into each other's eyes and realized what they've got to get done and come out a little bit more charged up, because if they don't get some kind of points here, that next drive, that could make this a three-possession game.
He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
But if these guys are going to chop into that deficit, they're going to have to do a much better job in the run game. Caught behind the line of scrimmage, no yardage to be found.
After the loss to start out, here's 2nd and 11. From the shotgun, Joe Burrow. Got a man open, it's Chase. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. The LSU connection, Burrow to Chase for the Cincinnati first. Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. Throwing right, and that's complete. And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30. And a nice gain of 21 yards. So from Cowboy territory now, here's 1st and 10 down at the 31. They'll go up the middle here with Moss. And not a whole lot of room to operate there on the first down run. He gets maybe 3.
Vision is so important for the man in the middle, because his ability to look through all the clutter that's happening in front of him, diagnose a play, and then go make it and finish it, that's when the great ones know that they have the goods.
On 2nd down, it's Moss again. And he'll take this down just shy of the 25-yard line. 3 yards on the pickup. That's going to set up an interesting 3rd and about 4 to go. In search of 4 yards here to pick up the first down. They go play action with Burrow. This is caught, and they are able to stop him, but he does take it all the way to the 2. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
With the kind of game he's had so far, you had to know that on 3rd down that they would be looking his way, and they did, for big yardage and a 1st down. I think the defense fell asleep at the switch on that one. I would have doubled him, tripled him, anything to keep the ball out of his hands.
1st and goal, and they got to be thinking a chance to get right back into this football game. They'll run here with Moss. And he is in. Touchdown, Bengals. Zach Moss taking it in from 2 yards out. And the Bengals are back within a score. And those 3 rushing touchdown games in this league, you know darn well, those are hard to come by. They're becoming even harder to come by as the years go by, aren't they?
Isn't that the truth? It doesn't matter what you do in terms of game planning. You may be a run-first team, but you're running against an NFL defense. That's some of the biggest, fastest, best athletes on the planet. Hard to do. Cherish that moment, even as he's eager to add to that total.
After the touchdown, McPherson on to kick this one away. Kevontae Turpin now to return. And he's up past the 20 to the 22-yard line. Here's the Dallas offense now heading back out onto the field. Their lead down to a field goal now as they start with a 1st and 10. They'll start this drive out on the ground. They'll get this to the 24, and it's second down.
Well, sometimes as a running back, you've got to be able to improvise when the hole's not where you expect it to be. But in this case, there wasn't any improvisation that he could do that was going to work. Kind of like if you're trying to be a comedian on open mic night at the Improv and you run into a tough crowd.
They run here with Dowdle. And he'll work his way across the 30 to the 32. 88 yards rushing for him now to this point. And that looked like some pretty easy yardage there right up the gut.
And he's a guy that has some height to him. So when you don't have to drop a shoulder or create or get through contact or trash, makes it a lot easier to stay upright, see the field, and make a run as we just saw there.
A running play. It's Dowdle. And this is going to be a Cowboys first down as he'll get this up to about the 42. Obviously an important run to avoid the 3 and out on your own side of the field.
Shows a lot of faith in that offensive unit, doesn't it? That you want to run the ball in that situation, pick up the first down. Also helps out your defensive guys a little bit too. Allows them to get at least one more series of downs in order to get some rest.
They'll try to throw now. Prescott. On the out route, it's Lamb with a grab. And just 3 yards on the catch there. He couldn't get away. And that'll bring up second down. One back in the backfield, he'll get the carry. And only a couple there as he'll take this up to the 47.
Let's give a lot of credit to the offensive line. They've been able to move the ball really well on the ground the entire game. And while that wasn't a huge one, that's okay. They'll take them in short, steady bursts.
Prescott now. That is caught, and he will have a Cowboys first down. They needed 5 there on third down. He winds up getting 7. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful you're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. And you can drop anyone out of your defensive front, defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield. Hey, when you get good yardage like that on first down, it really does a whole lot of good for your entire offense. But I love the way he's finishing those runs. At the end of things, he's making sure he gets just a little bit extra.
To throw is Prescott. Cooks on the quick slant. And he's dropped just before the line to gain. 4-yard pickup leaves him with 3rd and 1.
What terrifies defenses when they see slant routes thrown is that the receiver is on the move, and oftentimes he catches it and gets upfield. Does a really nice job rallying to him and stopping him for a minimal gain.
On third down, they're going to run for it here. And he's able to get it to the 33. Good enough for a first down. They're able to convert with a gain of 4. And they're not going to get to the line to run another play. So we will switch ends as the third quarter has come to a close. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. We couldn't ask for much more to this point in the second half. A gorgeous day, one-score game, 1st and 10 here. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11.
Well, that was one of the few times they've been able to contain him thus far. He's over 100 yards for the game, but he lost a bit off his total on that carry.
Maybe just a slight detour on what's been a strong drive. Here's 2nd and 11. Here's a handoff out of the gun. A pickup of about 3 yards as he's taken down at the 31.
Well, praise has to go to the guys on the offensive line because they've had a very nice, productive day running the football. How about that poor defensive line? They've been knocked around the entire game, and while they slowed them down on that run, can they continue to do so? Because they haven't had much success throughout this ball game.
On third down, it's Prescott. He's got his target. That's complete. And they move this all the way down to the 9. They're able to convert on third down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
And that certainly appears to be a critical conversion right there, because not only do they keep the drive going, they take valuable time off the clock as well. They have to feel really good about that last completion.
So 1st and goal, 6 points here would go a long way toward wrapping this one up. Now it's a bootleg with Prescott. Touchdown! Luke Schoonmaker, a 9-yard touchdown grab. And the Cowboys get an important score there to extend their lead here in this 4th quarter. But that's certainly an important touchdown there and makes this a 2-score game.
But as we've seen, no lead is safe in this one with the way these two offenses have lit up the scoreboard. I would imagine that on their sidelines, they're both yelling at their defenses, hey, you want to get involved here? One big play from you, that can win the game for us.
Now the extra point up and good by Aubrey. And his guys will take a 10-point lead. So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And here comes a return from just beyond the goal line. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. Cincinnati now ready to take the field. And you figure after giving up that last touchdown, they trail by 2 scores here in the 4th quarter. This drive becomes very critical.
Ready?
Burrow and the Bengals with a 1st and 10, just shy of the 30. They'll come out throwing here to start the drive. Now a short one to Gesicki. So the completion results there in 9 yards. And that'll give them a short yardage situation here for 2nd down.
Coaches always harp on the quarterback reading the defense and getting it to the open man. That's good recognition there. And how about what he did after the catch?
Yeah, hit your tight end, let him get some rack.
Yeah, when he gets moving, not many guys want to come over and put a hit on him, do they?
On 2nd down, here's Burrow. Out of his hands quickly to Higgins. And Higgins is going to have a Bengals 1st down as he's up to the 45. It's a 7-yard gain there, and it's good enough to move the chains. They will throw on 1st down with Burrow. Now a short one to Gesicki. So they'll get nothing out of that play, and it'll be 2nd down.
Well, that was a simple throw and catch, but even with that completion, 0 yards gained, so they're behind schedule on down and distance.
I think they were hoping to get it to him. He could make a man or two miss, but that window closed quickly. Here's Burrow. That's complete. Once again, it's Gesicki. And he's going to have another 1st down here as the tackle's made at the Cowboys' 29-yard line. A really nice gain of 25 yards. You cannot write these guys off just yet, not with a quarterback like that under center.
You mean it actually crossed your mind with him running the team that you could actually maybe write this game off?
Not yet.
Not a chance. Not with him. We've seen it too many times.
So from Cowboy territory now, here's 1st and 10 as they're down to the 20-yard line. Burrow Looking to pass. Trying to get it to Chase, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Trayvon Diggs. And the Cowboys are going to take over once again at their own 25-yard line. With the points that we've seen scored, neither defense has been at their best, but these guys, they've been a little bit better, Charles, and a nice interception there.
Yeah, you're right about that, Brandon. Let's face it. It's not always how you start, it's how you finish, right? So maybe you have a rough game all the way along, but if you make a big play like that at the right time, it can make everything turn out just okay.
So Prescott of the Cowboys now with a 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. They'll start this drive out on the ground. And he'll get this up just shy of the 30.
Brandon, I've got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where it'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
And they'll give him another shot here on the ground. And he'll scratch out a yard up to the 30, and that's all.
That's it. That's what you want. Straight ahead positive gain. Just keep that clock ticking.
The offense on 3rd down. They've hit on 6 of their 8 tries. Very good. This will be 3rd and 5. Now Prescott. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And he will have a Cowboys 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. He's been the go-to guy. They needed a big play there on 3rd down. Went his way. It worked out.
Doesn't matter whether they've scouted it or that they think he's going to get the ball. He has a knack for finding his way open and completing the connection.
Prescott looks to throw on 1st. He finds his man complete. That's Ferguson. And he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. A good pickup there, 26 yards. The passing game continues to be their friend. Even with a stable lead here in the 4th, Charles, they're going back to that well.
Yeah, with their overall philosophy, you know that they trust their quarterback. He's been able to throw it well. If they continue to throw these safe passes, who can blame them?
So they'll come up in Bengals territory now with a 1st and 10 down at the 33. From the gun, they'll try to run it. And a good-looking run there as he'll take this inside the 20 and down to the 18-yard line. This gain not quite as good as the last, but still over 40 yards between the two.
Well, that's a carry they have to be satisfied with, and throughout this game, they've been satisfied with what he's given them. Whenever they've needed a big run, a 1st down, he's the guy they've turned to. And it doesn't matter what the defense thinks. They feel like they've got the confidence to keep handing it to him and keep picking up good yardage.
And they've got it inside the 10 at the 8. A gain of 10 as they look to add on to this 10-point lead.
Well, normally you might say start running the football. You've got the lead here in the 4th quarter, but the way that they've passed it with such success, I don't know, maybe keep throwing it.
Yeah, I think you brought up something that goes against conventional wisdom, right? In this stage of the game, you would think you would switch to a running attack, but you're exactly right. They've thrown it so well throughout the game, and trusting this quarterback, I think you continue to do so.
Boy, showing how tough he can be to bring down, just fighting his way forward to pick up 7 yards. Starting to become a tough spot for this defense. You're down 4th quarter, looking a little fatigued maybe on that side of the ball.
Partner, we've seen this before, haven't we? Because every coach we've ever talked to says body language is important. And now you're seeing guys with their hands on their hips, they're bent over, hands on their knees. And the offensive guys are just saying, let's just keep running it at them. We've got them now.
And he is into the end zone for a Cowboy touchdown. Rico Dowdle with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon.
And the Cowboys are an extra point away from making this a 3-score game. Everybody in the stadium knew what they were going to do right there, CD. 3 tight ends on the field, all that extra bulk, and they run it in.
And you saw where that one went, right? You run it over your best blocker. I can just see the head coach right now. I want to run this one over the big boy. And they got it done.
Aubrey good with a PAT.
And that'll make this a 3-score game now. The lead moves to 17.
So after the touchdown, Aubrey now to kick this one away. And he'll be brought down right on the chalk of the 20. The Bengals offense returns to the field. Not an ideal way to end their previous drive. They threw the interception, Charles, after they had built up some momentum. They were moving the football, but something to at least build on for this offense as they run back out here.
Yeah, you're right about that. Up until that last play, everything was working pretty well for this offense, gaining chunks of yardage, getting first downs, really making a push for the end zone, and looked like they had a nice rhythm going. Now you got to have a short memory here. Don't focus on the interception. Focus on what came before it and get back to it.
They'll run the screen with Moss.
And he'll have this past the 30 prior to going out of bounds. Nice way to start the drive, a gain of 12 and a first down.
And that's not a play that you see all that often at the start of a drive, but some teams, they don't mind doing it. And that one, well sold by the offensive lineman. They showed the pass, and then they got out into space, able to get some good blocks downfield and allow the play to be successful.
Now a pass dumped off to his running back. So give him 2 yards there on the completion, and that'll make it second down.
And we see another pitch and catch there to the running back. This position just continues to evolve. They become just as critical to the passing attack as a lot of receivers, tight ends, because their ability to make people miss in the open field can really generate big plays for an offense.
Here's a throw out wide, complete to his running back right side. They follow up the gain of 2 with a gain of 1 that time.
Here's 3rd and 6.
They're passing here, Joe Burrow. And that's going to be incomplete. The contact there enough to jar that ball free, and it brings up 4th down.
Ready?
They'll try and throw forward with Burrow. And he's going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked off by Malik Hooker. And they take possession 2 yards away from midfield at the 48-yard line.
Well, it wasn't always pretty, but the interception there, that means that they should get out of here with a victory.
Yeah, this is not a game that they're going to preserve for posterity on defense, but they did finish it off, didn't they? They did make the winning play to close things out. They'll take that one and head to the locker room.
The Dallas offense back out onto the field. Well, they don't really need the points here, Charles, given what we're looking at on the scoreboard, but they've scored on 3 consecutive possessions, 3 consecutive drives, and I'm sure that they would like to keep that streak going here and continuing to pour it on.
And things have gotten that way in the NFL, haven't they, partner? Because in the old days, people would, they'd get off the gas a little bit, right? But now, people continue to accelerate, but we'll see what they decide to do as they come out for this one. But the way that this game has gone, they've got to be awfully happy with their execution overall.
I like the call there because that was one to take time off the clock and get them closer to getting out of here with a W. In the mind of the play caller, all you want to hear is tick, tick, tick.
They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. And this time not quite to the 30. It'll be down at the 31-yard line.
156 yards rushing for him now as he's toted it 21 times.
I've got an idea. Let's skip racing to the airport at the end of this game. Let's go to the post-game press conference. I have a feeling that the quarterback of this winning team he's going to be given a whole lot of credit to the running game and the offensive line.
Yeah, I was just going to say the offensive line, yes, carrying the ball has been key, but those guys up front, they've made a lot of space. On first down, they'll go to the ground attack. And he'll go down at the 26 following a gain of 6.
I really like the vision he displayed on that play because he saw there wasn't a lane to completely break off a huge gain. So he found where there was the most space and got what he could. A nice dirty run that's a positive play for the offense.
Well, this was a very close ball game at halftime, Charles, but in the second half, that offense kind of kicked things into another gear, and they were able to pull away for the victory.
And, Brandon, I think they're the type of team that just looked in the mirror and said, hey, ton of pressure on, but we're the type of team that can flat out handle it. They stood up with confidence, and made it happen for a victory.
So that'll just about do it for Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. For more, log on to easports.com.